What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. Joining me on this edition, we've got Callum Wiggins.
Hey.
And Robert DeFelice.
The Triforce of Smack Talk is back to answer your questions.
And Numero Quattro is going to pop in a little bit later. We'll see Drew White unless something happens.
Yeah, he's going to fuck that all up.
He'll mess up the recording and I'll have to go back and re-record everything or something like that. God damn it, Drew. Mailbag is what we're going to start off with here. We're probably going to be recording the Sexiest Superstars tournament afterward too, so you get a double edition of us today. We'll see what happens. So let's just dive right into it. These are the questions that you guys submitted for June 2018. We're going to start off with Howard here with a really good question. I like this one a lot. If you could create your very own legendary Money in the Bank participants from the 1980s, who would you fill in the slots and who would you want to win? Now, there wasn't a specification of how many people to put in there, so I went with 10. I figured, why not? I could always just take 2 out. They went with 8 this year. They've gone with 9. They've gone with 10. They've gone with 5. You know, I think 10's a good even number.
Okay, I'll need to think of a few more then. So
did you go
first?
Did you go with 5?
6. I went with 6.
6. Well, they went with 8 this year, and they've done 10 before, so I just kind of figured, worst case scenario, I would take 2 out of the list, and I know which 2 I would take out too. So the 10 that I had gone with were Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts, Mr. Perfect, Ted DiBiase, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Rick Rude, Ricky the Dragon the Steamboat, Ultimate Warrior, and then either Tito Santana or Sergeant Slaughter. Because I am assuming that since it's the 1980s, Sting and Ric Flair are not available to be in a WWE Money in the Bank. So I kind of did that. And Hulk Hogan is probably the champion because it's the 80s, you know? So if I had to take out the list to make that 8, I would take out either Slaughter or Santana and probably take out Ultimate Warrior because maybe Ultimate Warrior wouldn't necessarily be the best in that. And out of that bunch, I would really be tempted to go with Ted DiBiase just because Money in the Bank. It would just work with his gimmick, you know? If not him, then probably Savage or Perfect. Because, man, they'd be doing a hell of a job with that gimmick. Who you got, Callum?
So my original 6, it's fairly similar to your one. Roddy Piper, I think, is a must.
Yeah.
And Ted DiBiase, I think, again, the Money in the Bank makes most sense. I put Bret Hart in as like the young up and comer.
That's a good idea. I didn't think about that.
Gets thrown into it because at that point in time he's like the new fresh face guy. The same way of like also put Mr. Perfect in as well. I think Jake Roberts makes good sense as well. Just being there, and then maybe just a little bit of wild card as the big man. I'd put in the Big Boss Man because I did like the Big Boss Man as like just this. I think it's good to have some variety. So he'd be the guy that was just like throwing people into ladders and occasionally climbing up, but maybe plays the Kevin Owens role of being too scared to climb or something along those lines.
Yeah. That'd be funny if like Andre did that too.
I'd love it if he actually like took out handcuffs and like handcuffed someone to the ladder as they were climbing.
That would be cool.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's my 6.
So are you gonna add 4 more, or
no? I'll let Tony do that. Just take 4 more from Tony's one and just add them.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to add a little context here and say it's 1989, WrestleMania 5. It's Trump Plaza. It's about the money, and mine would be the same, but since I'm going to go with Hogan and Savage being in the main event, I won't have Randy Savage in, but I would have Jake Roberts, Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, Ted DiBiase. I do think we would see Superfly Snuka. We'd probably see Brutus Beefcake because it's the 1980s and they really liked Brutus Beefcake. So that would be my 6, and I guess Tony did 10, Callum did 6, I'll do 8. I'm going to steal this from Callum. I like the idea of Bret Hart being the young gun and possibly, you know, opening some eyes and even stealing the show. And because I have Rick Rude in here and the Warrior fought Rude at WrestleMania 5, I'm going to put the Warrior in. And by the way, the winner here would definitely be Ted DiBiase, Mr. Money in the Bank, the first ever.
Oh, I
And
didn't say who I
Virgil
wanted to
would
win.
have to carry it.
Oh my god,
I
that's
didn't say-
great.
I didn't say who I wanted to win. If out of my ones, I'd have Mr. Perfect win it because he's perfect. So
Yeah.
he would pick the perfect opportunity to cash it.
Very
I'm
surprised
just-
nobody went with the Killer Bees as two of their.
That's none of
They
your
wouldn't-
business, Tony.
They wouldn't need the ladder; they could just fly up to get the briefcase. So.
That'd be great. Man, there would be some terrible options though if we were doing Money in the Bank back then. If it was just kind of like, all right, like let's give these 8 to 10 spots. Like let's have, I don't know, George the Animal Steel. Let's
Coco beware.
Coco Beware. The two Killer Bees.
And to be fair, it's better than if it'd be like the mid 1990s and you have Mantar in there.
Well,
Oh, God,
the mid
yeah.
1990s would probably have a very good Money in the Bank ladder match. If we keep it to 6 here, that would easily be Shawn, Razor, Owen, Bulldog.
Luger.
Like, no, I said we're gonna have a good Money in the Bank, Tony.
Yeah, he's the power guy.
Bulldog, though.
Bulldog, yeah, I guess you're right. And we'd probably have Brett, unless he's in the world title picture. Maybe have Diesel as the tall guy. Or
Put Vader
Sid.
in there. Thinking of it.
I would throw Vader in there.
Oh, if it's WWE.
Um,
Depends on what year. If it's 97, then totally 100% Vader. If it's
Yeah.
94, then you're stuck with Jacob and Eli Blue. And
well,
1,
if
2,
it's
3 Kid would be on there
94,
though. That'd be kind
The
of
1,
good.
2,
Have
3
him
Kid
flipping
would be
around.
in there, and Jarrett would take the last spot.
Yeah, Jarrett would be a really good one for that too. Man, that would be actually a lot of fun.
They should have invented this like 10 years earlier than they did.
They really
Yeah.
should have.
And
Not-
obviously, Shawn Michaels would have been the first Mr. Money in the Bank.
Oh, clearly. He would have done that and he would have cashed in on, you know what would have been kind of fun if he would have been able to cash in on Diesel.
He would have totally cashed in on Diesel. Like, Diesel just beat Mabel at SummerSlam and turns around, Shawn kicks him.
And then
And
that
Shawn
leads
walked
to good friends, better enemies. Fun times.
Yeah.
All right. Good question, Howard. Thank you for sending that one in. Let's move on to Peter's here. We've got number 1 here. What do you think about IHOP changing its name to IHOB? Fucking stupid.
I think you could buy a T-shirt at Smark Out Moment.
Oh God,
You
yeah.
both
You could buy 2 T-shirts. All right, did I put 2 of them or did I only put 1 up? I think
You
I put
put the-
2.
The IHOB, Burger King, and I know you put a poop one.
Yeah, that's right. It was the Burger King logo with IHOB instead of that, and then the other one was just instead of saying IHOP, it just says poop. Because I fucking laughed hysterically when I was like, "Oh, I could just take the O and the P and just kind of make it say poop." And then I saw that it still had the little smile, and I was legit cracking up. So I was like, "All right, yeah, poop design. Why not?" I've sold a lot of Donkin Dunce fucking Beppis shirts. I was like, "Why not?"
welcome to IHOB. What would you like?
They just show the poop thing and they're like, "Oh, I get it. Our name's stupid." It's dumb. Like, if this is a temporary thing, because I've heard that, then all it's going to do is get people to go, "Yeah, see, I told you that it was a bad idea and that they needed to change it back to IHOP." That hurts the company's image. And if it's not a temporary thing, how many fucking burger places are out there? Do you really want to be the thing that's just like the, I don't know, 12th best burger place when you can be either number 1 or number 2 of pancakes? I saw a meme too that I thought was great. It was the Charlie Murphy. And it just said, "Welcome to IHOB. What can I get you?" Pancakes. It was just like, go to fucking IHOP, not IHOB. It's dumb.
Callum, any thoughts?
Well, I think Tony pretty much just summed it all up. It's stupid to take your USP and essentially just eliminate it from your name.
Mm-hmm.
Just a really dumb business move.
Welcome to Burger King. Do you want to get some fucking hummus?
They should change their name to Pancake King.
They did.
Oh, they
Oh,
did.
God. No,
Yeah, they did a temporary thing. They changed their Facebook and their Twitter, like not the accounts themselves, but like the username kind of thing. They changed it to Pancake King for a little bit, and a lot of other companies have been doing that too. Like, Whataburger, they said something like, "Yeah, we're thinking about changing it to What a Pancake." Wendy's, of course, because Wendy's is fucking great. Somebody tweeted out to them and they were like, "What do you think about the IHOB thing?" And they were like, "We're not really worried about a place that is going to sell burgers when they thought that pancakes was too hard. It's like, yeah, fucking Wendy's. You're the best out of the three main, like, out of, in my mind at the very least, Wendy's is better than McDonald's and Burger King. And they also have such a good fucking Twitter account.
What if the social media guy listens to this? Because he's clearly a wrestling fan.
If the social media guy listens to this, dude, fucking come on Smack Talk at some point and we will just give you a platform to just go off. But yeah, IHOP is stupid. And
Yep,
I don't think I'm going to be trying any other burgers, especially because they're supposed to open up one around me, and it's been like 2.5 years where it's like, hey, IHOP is coming. And you're like, all right, when? 2026 or something, you know? Whatever. Fuck it, go to Denny's.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Or diners, if you have access to a diner. What do you think of Dallas and Robo, WWE's new YouTube Red series? I haven't seen it. No idea what it is.
I have watched the first episode. I actually watched the first episode before we started recording, just so I could give an answer to this question. Put it this way. One of the producers and lead vocalist is Kat Dennings. So you can kind of get a sense of what sort of comedy you're getting out of this show. If Two Broke Girls is any indication. It was fine. It was enough to make me watch the second episode.
Better or worse than Camp WWE?
Better than Camp WWE. Essentially, the concept is that Kat Dennings is a human trucker and like space trucker essentially, and John Cena plays her robot sidekick, who is like the muscle that beats everyone up. And yeah, it's clearly aimed at the lowest common denominator, but it doesn't do a bad job of aiming at that.
Is it like fart jokes and penis jokes?
I haven't got to the fart jokes yet, but there's a few bits and pieces that like one of the first gags is like they drive into a bunch of cannibal bikers, and so it's just them showing the recording of them hitting, like from the camera of their truck, showing them hitting the cannibal bikers over and over again, and then putting cat emojis on their faces, like you would do on like Snapchat or something.
That's terrible.
It
doesn't sound like it's my thing.
If you're looking for like really intelligent comedy, then you probably should look somewhere else. But it's WWE, so you can't really expect too much more than that.
Yeah, I did like that one little show that they did. The what was it? Cheap Pop, I think. Cheap Heat. Yeah, this is one of those two, I think.
Yeah, cheap pop, something like that. Yeah, they do occasionally knock it out of the park, but it's like sometimes it's just, I mean, it's YouTube Red as well. Like I only recently got YouTube Premium to check out a few stuff that was on there because you get a 3-month free trial. So I'd say if you're interested, you might as well just give it a go every now and again. Just if it's free for as long as you can, and then you can just get rid of it. But I just look through all the stuff and like nothing really interests me. And I'm only watching this because somebody mentioned it in the questions, so I thought might as well. And like it's something that you could watch in the background and just maybe get a few chuckles out of it. Other than that, nothing else.
I'll already put it out there for everybody. I know that I'm going to forget to add this down into my list of WWE programming for the end of the year awards. I will try to write myself a note about that, but we'll see what happens if I actually remember about it. Dallas and Robo is the name of it?
Dallas and Robo, yeah.
Dallas and Robo. All right. Add to awards list. Don't forget. Okay. I'll totally forget. Another question that we got going on here. What do you think of all the 2-time WWE Hall of Famers? Ric Flair being in WWE twice, Sting being in TNA, WWE, etc., etc. I hate the idea that Ric Flair is twice in the Hall of Fame for WWE. I think that it's really stupid. It makes no sense. Do you agree with that?
Well, that's the only one that, like, if he's talking about like 2-time Hall of Famers, like a lot of these people are in like the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame, any other ones and stuff like that. But it's more along the lines of if it's a WWE one and you're in the same Hall of Fame twice, that gets a bit ridiculous. The rest of it, I don't really mind too much.
Yeah, if it's like Angle being in both. All right, well, he did enough in TNA and he did enough in WWE. Makes sense. Same with 3D. Same with Jarrett. Mark Henry, of course, he should be in the whole like WWE and the Olympics and stuff, and that makes sense.
Well, they only inducted the Horsemen just to get the guys in the Horsemen that deserve to be Hall of Famers in there without having to induct them individually because they couldn't. And then if you're going to induct the Horsemen, then it becomes, hey, let's induct Ric Flair.
Yeah, but I think that they should have had it be Ric Flair does the induction for them. Not that he goes into.
Yeah, that's probably the fair argument. I think it's like it gives a little bit of disservice to some of the Horsemen that they weren't able to go in on their own merits.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arn Anderson could have gone in on his own.
Yeah, like they could have had Arn be the mainstay of that part because they weren't even necessarily the headliners that year, weren't they?
Nope, Edge was.
Yeah, so like they didn't need that to be like, oh damn, well we really need Ric Flair to be able to hold this down, It would have been fine to just have be like, all right, well, Flair's going to induct the other members of the Horsemen because now then you're like, well, why didn't Shawn Michaels go in with the Clique? Well, Clique started from Shawn.
Clique technically wasn't a wrestling faction, though. It was more just a behind-the-scenes thing.
Which is a weird thing. People constantly think like the Clique was just on-screen.
No, it wasn't on screen, but, I mean, it is a thing. And like, maybe, why don't we bring back the NWO and have...
Hogan going
every time we bring an NWO person in, we bring in Hogan again, and like it's just kind of
when we that though, you're inducting like Buff Bagwell and.
But like, if we get a chance to do the Hart Foundation, do we need to do Bret Hart again, or can we have it be Owen, Bulldog, Pillman, and Neidhart? In my mind, those four, even though only one of them is able to actually show up, you have Bret Hart do the induction speech, and Neidhart accepts it for himself and the other three.
It's so depressing, isn't it?
Yeah. That he's the one.
It's not the fact that he's the one. Like, it doesn't don't want him to be dead as well, but it's more like it's such a huge faction in history. Like, even though it's only around for like a year, the fact that three of them are gone.
Yeah, it's a shame.
And they all died pretty close to each other. I think there's only 2 years or a year and a half between Pillman and Owen, and maybe 2 to 3 years between Owen and Bulldog.
No, I think it was a little bit longer than that. Wasn't it like 5?
2004, I think.
No, he died in 2002.
2002? Oh.
Huh.
Yeah, and Owen was 99, so.
Jeez.
Yeah, Bret Hart has the worst luck.
That's a pretty bad string of things there, yeah, because then he does the whole Goldberg kick too, and it's just like, God damn it, man! How much are you gonna kick a guy when he's down?
Yeah, 99 was a bad year for Brad, poor guy.
Quick thing about Hall of Fame: Vader passed away today. We'll talk about this a little bit more when it comes to next week's hot tags, but it'll be a little bit less relevant next week because it'll already be a couple days past. But you guys think that he goes in now that he's dead?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
isn't that kind of shitty?
It's
upsetting.
Yeah, very shitty.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they weren't on the best of terms, and Vader has done a few like wild things in recent years and stuff like that, especially with the fact that it was almost like a countdown thing of 2 years. Like, he gave himself like 2 years or something along those lines to his death, because he said that he
just about got there too.
Yeah, I think he lasted a little bit longer, but yeah, he should go in now. It is pretty shitty though when you have to do it posthumously.
Yeah, especially because it's just kind of like, are you waiting for these people to pass away so you don't have to deal with them, but then just capitalize off their names? Or is it a matter of what happens a lot, where somebody passes away, then you go, oh yeah, they were great, now I revere them.
But Vader was both, I think.
But Vader was more than worthy of the Hall of Fame spot.
It's like, I bet that as soon as Dynamite Kid dies, the Bulldogs are going in.
Yeah, we'll see about a lot of this Hall of Fame stuff. Just wanted to quick mention that, because it just happened not that long ago. Moving on to another question here. Why do you think WWE is teasing Paige versus Sonya versus Mandy or Mandy when they know that it won't happen? I don't think that they necessarily are. Do you guys?
No, I think they just decided to separate them to make Paige a babyface general manager. So they needed to immediately, if they were going to move Sonya and Mandy onto SmackDown, they had to make the divide as quick and obvious as possible. I don't think they're trying to tease Paige getting back in the ring. I'm not saying, obviously, look at Daniel Bryan. I'm not saying like it's 100% she's never getting back in the ring, but I don't think that's where they're going. And if they did have ideas of Paige getting back in the ring at some point, I don't think they'd waste it on that match.
But we know that this company isn't above that. I mean, they teased Bryan and Miz for a year and a half when they didn't think that Bryan was ever going to wrestle again.
It's true, in which case WWE just dicks.
Yeah, which is perfectly understood and accepted.
Yeah, and if Paige gets some kind of a miraculous, like, okay, you're cleared and you can wrestle again, maybe they bring back Big Cass. It's like, that's your first feud. We'll talk Big Cass on the hot tags. Do you think WWE planned a tag team Money in the Bank? Do you know, or do you, that's why, do you think, I'm assuming that's what it is, do you think that that's why Authors of Pain went to everyone's favorite show Main Event? Sanity hasn't been called up, and Jason Jordan hasn't been reteamed with Gable. It definitely seems like they were going to go with a tag team Money in the Bank. They had the Ascension and they had Breezango and so forth talking about how they were going to get in the Money in the Bank, yet none of them had any kind of a qualifying match. It seems like the 3 briefcases that they were advertising was going to be the case too. Not the case. And I don't know why they decided not to. Curious who would have been booked to win if they would have done that. I would have thought Authors of Pain probably would have made the most sense. But do they need a Money in the Bank briefcase? Nah. So I think that it was the right decision.
I think the Revival would have won, just saying.
I don't think the Revival would have been in it.
I got a feeling the Revival probably would have been cast aside. For some reason, they keep fucking them over. They would probably be like, damn it, we need to give more of a attention to Slater and Rhino for some fucking reason.
Yeah. I think based on a lot of the advertising and the backstage vignettes, I think it's a pretty safe assumption to make that there was going to be a tag team Money in the Bank ladder match, and for some reason it came out at the same time that the news or rumors came out saying that WWE has essentially given up on its tag team division.
Yep.
So the two things if I'm not saying that rumor is entirely true, but they came about around about the same time as they decided to drop the tag team match. So take that as what you will, but I
wouldn't be surprising for me if that would have been double the discussion. Like, if they would have been like, well, who do we do for this Money in the Bank thing? We've got McIntyre and Ziggler. We've got the B Team. We've got, we could reform American Alpha. And then somebody, more than likely Vince, was just kind of like, I'm not interested in any of these guys right now. Fuck it. We shouldn't be paying any attention to them. No tag team Money in the Bank ladder match. Just scrap the match. Like, and then everybody goes, oh, okay, well, Vince doesn't like the tag teams right now, so let's not focus on them. Like, kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, sort of.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, then why even bother having a tag team championship? And no, I'm not saying that that's something they should really abolish, because, I love tag team wrestling, but if you're going to shit on it anyway, do you really need to have it?
Well, remember, the first thing that went with the whole, the 2 different brands was the tag team division. So if we start seeing something where we're heading towards Survivor Series and it's kind of like the tag team champions versus the tag team champions, and we're going to unify the titles and we're going to have one WWE tag team championship, it could end up happening.
I go along the lines thinking that essentially a tag team division is a staple of any wrestling promotion, so they stick to it for tradition's sake. But if Vince had his way, he probably wouldn't have it.
And then once Triple H gets in control, he'll be like, all right, we got tag team divisions again. Seems like he's much more into that.
For teams like, Heavy Machinery, because they're not going to be anything separate from each other. Just like the Revival. The Revival built a name for themselves around the idea that they're tag team specialists and they're one. You know, they're not interested in being Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. They're interested in being the Revival as a unit.
We'll get to the tag team thing when it comes to it, because we got a good question about that too. So we'll pick this conversation back up in a couple minutes. What is your best back in my day that you have? Easy for me. Back in my day, there was only 151 Pokemon. That's actually a pretty good one. I tend to go with more so back in my day, we didn't have cell phones and everything that comes along with it, like the GPS and being able to actually keep in touch with people, text messaging. This sounds really kind of shitty to do, but like even like Snapchat, like, man, I would have been able to see so many more tits back in high school, like, you know, that kind of thing. Like the internet itself, you know, it was a bitch to find porn. It was so much harder to do banking. It was
Pay bills.
Impossible to, like, without Facebook and stuff like that. It was like, all right, well, if I don't have somebody's phone number, I guess I'll just never talk to them ever, you know, like that kind of thing. And it's like a lot of internet cell phone type stuff is a lot of back in my day. Yet at the same time, people were happier. Things are easier now, yet people are more depressed. It's kind of strange.
Well, I think it's because with social media, you know, everything looks like
Fake.
you can see, oh wow, all these people are out doing all these cool things and I'm not. And I think that people start second guessing their lives because of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Back in my day, people had to brag instead of just post and humble brag.
For me, piggybacking off the internet thing, I always say, you know, I remember when high-speed internet was a luxury and now it's a necessity. It should honestly be included in utilities like water and electricity because it's that much of a necessity.
Yeah, FCC.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
Callum?
I'd probably go saying, like, back in my day, people kept their opinions to themselves.
Well, again, so what we've established is social media is bad, the internet's bad.
Yeah. It'd be saying, like, also along the lines of, like, time before, I mean, obviously I was born after, around about the time Google was getting into place and stuff like that, but it's that time where you would have debates about something if you didn't know what the answer was, and now you can just Google it, so you don't have those debates in, like, pubs or bars about the most random shit.
There's an entire episode of How I Met Your Mother dedicated to that.
Yeah, it's some things are back in my day. It was a shitty situation. Like, well, back in my day, you had to look at the card catalog to figure out what book to check out at the library, and people are nowadays are like, "What's a library?" And it's like it was an antiquated thing that it compares nothing to the internet the way that we have it now. It makes it so much easier now. But some things were a lot better. Like back in my day, a lot of like food tasted better because we didn't know that certain things were as bad for you, so they didn't try to be healthier. Like back in my day, fucking McDonald's French fries tasted fucking good. I haven't had a good McDonald's French fry in like 10 years. More than that, maybe. And that sucks. So, yeah, back in my day, music was better too.
All right, so what's your best wrestling related back in my day?
Back in my day, Shawn Michaels was wrestling and it was amazing.
Back in my day, people booed the heels.
I like that. One. Fuck that. I can't top that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see, some Total Bella stuff. Nikki and Cena's engagement party, John gave the speech, then Brie got up. Yes, she was drinking and pretty much said, "Fuck your wedding, our sister-in-law is pregnant." The next scene was the breakup. This baby and Birdie played into the breakup and not her first niece. Do you think that Brie did the right thing, and why didn't Nikki wake up on the first kid?
What the fuck?
I have no idea what went on.
Did you speak English for a second there?
So basically he's saying that John and Nicole are supposedly have all these problems because Nikki wants kids. Do you think that Brie shouldn't have been like, "Hey, fuck you guys, I'm pregnant"? And you know, it's so much of that is intertwined. I think it's a work.
I think
But-
the whole thing is a work. I think this is
this
just
whole stuff
total
is
bullshit.
stupid. I don't know why people get so invested in it. It's all just
Yeah.
a bunch of bullshit.
I'm sick of talking about it because I've covered it for Smark Out Moment, and I've had to post stuff for WrestleZone on it too. And it's like, God, you would honestly think. Let's pretend it's real for a second. If John physically couldn't have kids, as it was revealed in this past week's episode, why wouldn't you lead with that? If you know that this is something that's serious, why wouldn't you just go, not, hey, I don't want to have kids because I'm always on the road. Just, hey, I can't have kids.
Well, it's just he needs to get his vasectomy reversed.
Yeah, that's what he did. Apparently, that's the thing in the show. That he got his vasectomy reversed.
Which, admittedly, that makes a lot more sense now to say I'll make that sacrifice.
Apparently-
Instead of being like, I'll sacrifice a chicken's blood for some, pentagram kind of thing or something like.
Apparently, Jerry Lawler did that. Like,
He
legitimately.
reversed John Cena's vasectomy? He used to...
No, he got a vasectomy so he could fall about on the road during the 1980s, and then got it reversed when he decided to settle down a little bit.
That makes sense.
Even though I don't think he has kids. I don't know. I haven't checked, but
Dude, Grandma's
Brian
too
Christopher.
sexy.
oh, Grandma's sexy. Oh.
I thought it was a
Hey,
joke
hey.
about him being inconsequential.
No, I've just forgot about that because he is consequential.
No, you just
Maybe that
totally
was the
forgot he existed.
Maybe that was the reason why he decided to get it. It's like, oh, I can't have this happen again.
Oh man, yeah. I won't buy into the kid thing until Nikki Bella is legit pregnant and like showing. Then I'll be like, all right, maybe there's some reality to this. Otherwise, just for show. Here's one that I have no answer for. Do you think Dario Cueto is dead? What do you think of Antonio, or is it Antonino?
It's Antonio, I believe.
Cueto. I think Lucha Underground is doing some magic angles with that glove, and they're the same person, not father and son. I have no idea what the hell any of this means.
What? I apparently need to watch Lucha Underground. I need to start watching again.
So
Callum, take it over.
All right, so here's the kind of story, because I've watched every episode of Lucha Underground, so I do know a certain amount of it. Dario Cueto was the general manager, essentially, or the head of the temple, as they call it. And he died in the last episode of season 3. He was shot, apparently. And it's come back that they've led with the idea that he's passed on and his father has taken over the temple, and his father is Antonio Cueto, but it's actually the actor that plays Dario Cueto in different makeup. So it's still the same person, but he's taken on the guise of his father instead now. And they're doing a lot of shit with this magic glove, this gauntlet of power that every wrestler seems to be getting hold of, but I still don't really know what it's for or what it does.
Does it undo the Thanos snap?
Yeah, that I'm good.
I hope it does something, because like after the first episode of season 4, I'm not like as excited about the promotion as I used to be, because I really liked season 1. I thought season 1 was amazing. Season 2 was a bit disappointing, and season 3 was great. And now they're in a new place, and they've done all this bullshit with bringing in this guy who's the father of the original owner, and all the stuff with like the new people they've brought in and the people they've lost. There's no more Rey Mysterio. There's no Ricochet, because he was Prince Puma there. So now we've got a load of non-entities. It's disappointing. But
I will say,
I'll follow it still.
I like the way that show is shot. I like that it's seasonal and that it's like a television show. Because
it's really fun.
Yeah, and it gives you time to miss that brand of wrestling.
In terms of this sort of show, like we talk about like the illogicalness of certain aspects of WWE. Like this one, there is no logic, so you can kind of just move around it. But even in this show, I can find bits which are more logical and make more sense than some of WWE's booking. Even though you're talking about magic gauntlets and people getting killed on screen.
Well, hey, Vince got blown up.
And the Undertaker had his magical urn, so I mean they've tried.
Yeah, but it's the weird thing. It's the juxtaposition in WWE where you have people with the magical urn and stuff like that, whereas other people are just like guys. Whereas
Yeah,
at least in
just-
this one, it's consistent that everybody is like crazy, a really crazy character, or is working with magic or the devil or something along those lines.
That's so strange. I still have not seen a single episode of Lucha Underground. I should
Watch the first
check it
2
out at some
seasons.
point.
They're on Netflix.
Another question here from Peter. When was the last time you forgot wrestling was kayfabe and lost yourself in the moment? The 2 things that came to my mind, I don't know if they're, they might not be the most recent because these are a little bit older, but Mark Henry's retirement speech was one, which I guess technically isn't necessarily the case because it's working people like that. Like it's a work shoot sort of thing. But Brock Lesnar fighting John Cena at Extreme Rules was a moment where I was just kind of like, oh, fuck him up, Cena. And then I was like, wow, I'm actually like getting into this. Like it was, and it wasn't just me too. It was everybody that was watching it at the time. We were all sitting there going like, no, dude, he needs to fuck him up. Like there's probably been times since then. I just couldn't think of any off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think of. I think the Hardy Boys returning was probably the last one that I had of that. Like, I mean, I don't know how like non-kayfabe it is, but it's like they come in and like, oh shit, I really want them to win, and it's more along the lines of, oh hang on, but there are some other people in it, and maybe that doesn't make sense to have them win it. I just lost my usual critical assessment of basically everything that WWE or any wrestling promotion does. But then I'd also maybe go into like quite recently with the Okada Omega match.
Oh.
Was quite like,
Oh my god, dude.
It does make you like lose yourself a little bit. Like you stop thinking about, oh, what are they going to do with this, and who, if they win, what's going to happen? Because you're just actually just watching the match. There's a few bits pieces like that, but I think it's gone harder and harder for me to distance myself from like being a fan and being a WWE like analytical Smarky fan.
Okay, so if we're just talking small moments where even though I know somebody's not going to win, I lose it and I want them to win. Kofi in the Money in the Bank just this past Sunday, when he climbed on Strowman's back, there was so much of me that just went, okay, I know what they're going to do, but fuck it. I really just want to see Kofi win. So that's probably the most recent little, I lost myself in the match. But Okada Omega, I completely just was so invested. By the end of it, I was just jaw on the floor, so happy that I had watched that match. But assuming this person wants WWE only, biggest one for me, Rock and Cena and at WrestleMania 28. I wanted John to win so bad.
Same here.
Because I'm so sick of, and they're still doing it today with the whole, oh, the Attitude Era is so great and this era sucks, and I just wanted John to win and like, yeah, see, this era, they know where the money is, and they knew where the money was, and they still buried their top star.
Yeah, I definitely rooted for Cena there. And then when it came around to the next year, I was just like, if they don't fucking put that title on Cena, I'm going to be so pissed. So maybe that too. That's another thing. Maybe something along the lines with The Undertaker. I don't know. I'd have to give it a little bit more thought. Haven't had too much time to think about it. Which superstar do you think TNA pulled off better than WWE? Peter gives his suggestions. You can read them in the page itself for Smark Out Moment. Bobby Roode, for sure. He was better in TNA.
There's a lot for this question, actually. Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, Lashley was supposed to be better. Samoa Joe was better in TNA. WWE just doesn't do enough with him. Until I'm proven wrong, EC3, because he hasn't done much in NXT yet.
Matt Morgan, I'd put him up there as well.
Yeah, Matt Morgan, definitely.
There's a lot of people in like WWE. I think they did a better job with Christian than WWE did.
First
they
time
made Christian
around,
a top
or?
star.
They definitely made him a top star for WWE to take back.
Yeah, maybe when WWE brought it back, but it's kind of a sense of they wouldn't have made him world champion if Edge hadn't retired.
R-Truth?
R-Truth?
The keys?
It's a bit of a balancing act. I mean, he was a world champion in WWE, in TNA, so I guess he did do better. Sting?
You cannot argue Sting.
Yeah.
Monty Brown, Marcus Corvon. I liked him in TNA.
He was actually like a reasonable big star in TNA.
Arguably Elijah Burke too.
Raven was much better in TNA than he was in WWE, which isn't saying much because he was still shit in TNA, but that's how bad he was in WWE.
Eric Young.
This can almost be argued. He definitely spent a lot more time there. Kurt Angle.
I think Kurt Angle, it's kind of a 50-50.
Yeah, I think in TNA, he had a lot of great matches and feuds, and he was more of a serious person. But I don't want to say that he did better or worse than he did in WWE, because WWE did some really good stuff with him, did some really bad stuff with him. I think, it's more of a balancing act.
What about the Dudleys?
Better in WWE.
WWE. Although Bully Ray was fucking, like...
Well, yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah, Bully Ray maybe. Well, they should have capitalised him. If they were going to put on a team, TNA showed you how to make, like, Bully Ray a single star better than WWE could.
Here's an interesting one. What do you think about Steiner?
TNA.
Yeah, because WWE, he was only ever a tag team guy. Oh, when he came back, yeah, that was dreadful.
But do you count WCW as in WWE?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, because if you count that, then I think it's questionable. If it's just WWE, then TNA for sure.
Yeah, in that case, you go WCW, TNA, WWE. In the same way, Dudley's, I'd go ECW, WWE, TNA.
Yeah.
You know, it's so crazy because there's so many names for this. Probably the genesis of this question, the Broken Hardys. But the one name I will not put on this list, WWE has done very well with AJ Styles.
Yeah, they have. He's better in WWE, I think, for sure.
Oh, yeah, I'd say both New Japan and WWE did better by AJ Styles than TNA did.
Which is a crazy thing because for so long he was TNA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. Do you think Vince McMahon Jr. hates Father's Day since a pay-per-view is always on Father's Day? I wonder if it's like...
get through the question without laughing.
Is that like a true stat? Like, I mean... I wouldn't put it past it to be necessarily the case, but if you ran the numbers, Peter, drop a comment and tell us, like, you know, the pay-per-views that were on Father's Day, like, whatever the years were and stuff like that. I don't think it's like an intentional thing, but that's kind of funny if that's the case.
I think it's well-founded. Vince McMahon has issues with his father, and there was a lot of contention between the two of them in terms of transitioning the company over to Vince and the way that Vince thought about professional wrestling. Well, Vince Jr. thought about professional wrestling as opposed to Vince Sr.'s view of professional wrestling. They didn't have the greatest relationship. So I'm not saying that's the reason why, if this is the case, and he puts pay-per-views on Father's Day all the time. But maybe it's just a marketing way of saying, okay, they're probably going to be home on Father's Day, so maybe this is the best chance of getting people to watch pay-per-views and stuff like that.
I think he had great respect for his dad. He loved his dad, but I think there's probably that, like, he probably still wants to prove to Vince Sr. after all these years that he's better than him. You know, like, he probably still doesn't believe that in his mind.
There's a lot of things. The relationship is more than complicated, and if there is a thing with the Father's Day thing, that could potentially explain it, but Vince McMahon is a fucked up individual.
Wouldn't that be kind of funny, though, if there was, like, some memorandum that just said, like, all right, so what's the pay-per-view for this year's Father's Day? And people are like, what? And then he's just kind of like, damn it, we need one. Like, you know, why do we need one on Father's Day, Vince? Are we doing, like, a Father's Day gimmick? Oh, hell no, we definitely can't do a gimmick. We just need to be distracted that day. Like, they're kind of funny.
And then there's also the McMahon DVD, the 06 release. The storyline that he wanted to be the one who impregnated Stephanie.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's creepy.
It's a weird family.
What do you think of the news that Chris Benoit's heart was swelling up, making it 3 times larger than a normal heart, meaning at the time of his death he would have been dead in the next 10 months? That is very interesting to look at, like an Elseworlds type of thing. If Benoit would have not done what he did, and he would have died in the next 10 months, everything's different. his legacy would be a martyr in a positive light. He would be looked at as like, oh, it's such a shame, like an Eddie Guerrero type. Probably still could have helped out with the concussions and safety protocol that we have now, because if they would have tracked that down to him, it could have been like, all right, yeah, we really do need to get on the ball with this and pay more attention to it. Maybe not necessarily as much. You wouldn't have any kind of a erase him from history type thing. And he would have had his wife and his kid still alive.
I can't believe that you paired a Father's Day question next to a Benoit question. But yeah, exactly what you said. He would have been remembered as fondly as Eddie is, if not more so, because Benoit actually, held the Rumble record for so long and main evented WrestleMania. So it would have been a lot more celebration than this weird, awkward hush hush. But he was great. But we can't say that because he's also a murderer, kind of thing.
It's hard to really go into too much depth about the Chris Benoit thing. I think if anybody wants to research a little bit more into it, I don't want to plug too many other people's podcasts or anything, but the Lapsed Fan do a great series on, like, a 3-part series on exploring every detail of the Benoit murder. So if you're interested, check that out. I think with the Benoit thing with his heart swelling up too much, I definitely believe it. With the amount of steroids he was on and everything else that was going on in his system, I could have definitely believed that he would have died within the year of, like, him committing the act that he did. Other than that, it's more along lines of, I think if that changes, then I think it's hard to equate it, because you can't go along the line saying it's better that this happened because things going forward got better, because it's 3 people dying, but it's 2 innocent people dying.
Yeah, you're trading their lives for other people, kind of.
Yeah, but I do also go along the lines thinking that if Benoit didn't go the way that he did, there'd be a lot more deaths on WWE's hands right now.
So definitely a possibility.
Because, yeah, I don't think they would have... I mean, you can just see by the Eddie Guerrero thing, they didn't take this thing seriously enough. And now they do, and it took one of their wrestlers killing both of 2 of his family members to do it.
Well, the way Eddie died, isn't it kind of like what was suggested to happen to Chris? Because Eddie was clean, and it was just a matter of his heart.
He was pumped with steroids. He was completely full of steroids.
What?
There's clean. It's like...
Well, he's clean, but not on drugs or alcohol.
He's not on any hard drugs, and he's not drinking anymore. But he is, like, did you not see how big he grew in these, like, few years?
Yeah, he did grow a lot at the end.
He was desperate to, because he'd been pushed as a main event star, he was desperate to look like a main event star. And so whether he was being cajoled into it or it was his own sense of, like, needing to feel like he belonged, he was pumping himself with steroids every single day, it seemed like. And Benoit was the same. There were 2 guys that thought they were too small, or were being told they were too small, and they decided to take action in their own hands to make themselves bigger, and no one told them otherwise. It's the way things were back in, like, the mid-2000s and back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s as well. It was just the way things operate in WWE.
It's crazy to think that these were 2 guys who were probably the size of everybody on the roster now, and they were too small.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at what they both look like in WCW,
yeah,
and then compare it to their
stark
final days of
contrast.
WWE, yeah. I mean, look at how Triple H looks now compared to what he used to look like when he was... I mean, he probably still... I'm going to say he probably still is, but because he's not a full-time person, he doesn't go under the same regulations, but it's more along the lines of looking at him back then, and then in the years following the Benoit thing, he shrunk immensely.
Mm-hmm.
So it's... I don't want to say along the lines of... Not so much, I'm glad that he did it, but it's more like the sense of, like, the fact that he did it means that we have had action. It has saved more lives going forward. I wish it didn't have to come to that.
Yeah.
For that to happen.
Yeah, it's like a horrible situation. At least something positive came out of it. Worst case scenario would have been if that wouldn't have happened. and he still would have killed them.
Well, what do you guys think about like John's comments on steroids around that time when there was a lot of controversy because of Benoit, and CNN asked him, and he basically said, "I don't need to answer that question. I'm not an Olympic athlete. I'm not under Olympic regulations. It doesn't matter if I take steroids."
I'm sure there are certain people that get around certain things, because at the end of the day, WWE is well, it's like the big wrestling company and they want to put on great matches. A lot of their thing is about aesthetics, and Vince McMahon has a certain body type that he prefers. So
And also, we can't be naive enough to think that it's only professional wrestling that people do steroids.
Oh, no, there's loads of situations. And,
you know, actors do steroids all the time.
WWE is not the fundamental the only person to do it. They're not the only wrestling promotion that has this issue. They're not the only profession in general that has this issue.
Yeah.
But it's just a sense of just because everyone else does it doesn't mean it's okay.
But why do you think that WWE gets hit so hard with it when we know what's going on?
Because professional wrestling is a carny act, and it's lower value than basically every other form of entertainment or sport.
And
so
it's
they get
not regulated the same, and it's an easy target.
Yeah.
Like, you look at them and they go, "Oh, look at all my muscles and stuff," and then it's like, you know.
Yeah, they seem as like a lower brow form of either sport or entertainment, so it's easy to pick on them and make them the butt of all the jokes.
So this is kind of where it's going to be hard to get through this really quick, but I'm going to try to get through it real quick. Peter asks, if you were going to break up the tag teams, who would you make face and heel? Try to do this as quick as possible with this. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. I'd go babyface Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
She's the more likable one. And
she's
got the LGBT crossover appeal.
That and Mandy is the one that's like, I'm hot and you can boo me. I'd go babyface Fandango and heel Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, Tyler Breeze was a better heel.
Yeah.
I'd go babyface Heath Slater instead of Rhino.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yep.
Sami Zayn over Kevin Owens. Owens is so much better of a heel.
A given.
I'd actually quite like to see Owens as a babyface, just because we've seen him only as a heel. I know he's probably better at it, but it would be quite interesting to see.
I'd be interested at the very least. Why not? This one you guys might disagree with. I would go babyface Bray Wyatt and heel Matt Hardy.
I completely disagree.
Yeah,
I just want Bray Wyatt as a main star, as a heel.
Well, I'm just kind of past it by now. Like I'd like to see it just to change. Totally, might fail, but you know.
I understand that opinion. If we went on the lines of thinking that I think Hardy still has connection, I think Bray Wyatt, once you separate him, it doesn't matter if he's face or heel, he just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Babyface Rusev, heel Aiden English.
Yeah, you need to make Rusev babyface.
It kind of looks like they might have already started that kind of track record on SmackDown last night.
Oh, what a glorious Rusev day that was.
I'd go heel Connor, face Victor.
I'd go release them both.
Same.
I'd say separate them and then just forget about them.
Yeah. Babyface Curtis Axel, I'd go. And heel Bo Dallas.
I would go move Dallas back down to NXT and put Curtis Axel back with Paul Heyman. They can both be heel.
I'd probably go heel Curtis Axel and babyface Bo Dallas, because Bo Dallas is a nice, just funny babyface.
Heel Rowan, face Harper.
They could have done a lot with babyface Luke Harper.
I liked it better when Rowan was the face.
Cesaro babyface.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Peyton Royce, I'd go babyface.
Yeah, I don't think people would attach to Billy Kay that well.
Yeah, I'll have to agree.
Jimmy Uso, because he's got Naomi.
That's the only reason. That's the only differentiating factor.
Yeah, that really is.
Yeah.
I guess I'll agree.
I'd go Titus as babyface, just to give Apollo something different.
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
see Apollo as like a cocky heel.
Jack Gallagher is definitely more of a face than Kendrick.
Kendrick has money as a heel.
Yeah, I agree pretty much.
For Lucha House Party, I don't know. That's kind of tough. Maybe Kalisto is the babyface. The other two heels or something.
Kalisto will always be heel to me.
He does a good lucha thing, though.
If
Poor
you
guy.
say so.
I wouldn't like. This is one where if you, okay, I guess he's trying to set the guidelines. But if I was gonna break them up, they would just be generic babyface single guys. You know,
Yeah.
like
I'd rather just merge them all together and make. You take all the. I always like merging things. Just like the positives that each one brings, and just make that
Moving
and
to
Sin
Guerrero.
Cara, and just it's just the next Tubi.
I just get rid of all of them and then just get all their pay packets and give them to Rey Mysterio.
I'd go babyface Otis Dozovic.
Oh, definitely.
Is that the steak guy?
Stakes and
Steak-
weights, baby.
Yeah, he's funny. I like him.
He's fucking great. I don't like Tucker Knight all that well,
He's
but
nothing. Yeah, he's nobody.
Dozovic he's weird looking and he's just funny. So I have no idea about the rest of them. I tried to figure it out. Like
Well, who's left?
we got Authors of Pain.
They don't have any personality outside.
Yeah.
of each
Yeah.
other.
You can't split them. If you're gonna split them, release them.
Again, merge them together, make them one. Just I'm the Author of Pain. I'm Ray Zykem or something. The New Day, they're all kind of just baby faces, but maybe heel Big E or something.
Heel
I
Big
don't
E
know.
or heel Woods? I can see Woods as a heel.
Yeah. The Revival, they're basically the
can't-
same.
Cannot split them up. If you're gonna split them up, release them and let them go be a tag team somewhere good.
Riot Squad, it's like, who cares?
Ruby Riot's the babyface. Logan and Morgan are the heels.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that.
I don't think that there's a standout babyface from Sanity necessarily.
Eric Young is the babyface. That's a
Uh,
proven.
I'm pretty sure I'd go with Wolf out of all of them because he's just crazy.
Wolf gets released if they split up. Wolf goes.
Oh yeah, but he'll be the baby face that they beat up, and then he gets released.
Fair enough.
War Raiders, it's like they're just the same.
I think they could eventually establish individual personalities, but it would take some work.
But the real question is, what about TM61 or the Mighty? Whatever.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Tony's philosophy here. I merge them into one.
Yeah,
Like,
merge them into one
cruiserweight guy.
guy,
Merge
merge them into one
generic wrestler.
cruiserweight that ends up getting released.
Nick
Yeah.
Thorne.
Yeah, Nick Thorne. Why not?
Shane Miller.
Nah, you gotta release Shane Miller. Undisputed Era, they're all heels for the most
Yeah,
part.
they're all
they all
heels.
have identities, so they'll be fine.
Street Profits, if you gotta go babyface one, I'd say Ford.
The
Yeah,
one
Ford has to, yeah.
is he the one with Bianca Belair?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, he's babyface.
And then Lorcan and Birch. Babyface Birch, maybe?
Birch is the babyface. Lorcan's the heel.
Then you can go away with that one.
And by the way, if we going back to the Undisputed Era, Roderick Strong has been the proven babyface, so he'll be face. Riley and Fish could go either way as a tag team, but Adam Cole is a heel.
I could see maybe Cole being the babyface, though.
Hey, Ben.
Well-
Because he gets a better reaction from the crowd.
Yeah, but if you do that, you're doing the well, we got to turn Rude face on the main roster because they like the song,
That's a good point.
and yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, and as soon as you turn Cole face, people stop cheering for it. Because that's how it works in WWE.
At the very least, O'Reilly can't be a face because he's just he gets me to hate him. Like
Is it the way that he plays his title?
it's 100% the fucking stupid guitar thing.
I
That
love
is so
that.
good.
Come on now.
When he comes out, he does that. I'm just like, oh, kick his fucking ass, and it's like
great, yeah.
it works. Like there you go. That's one of the most kayfabe buy into what kind of things going on right now. Like I know that I'm supposed to hate him, and I totally do, and I want to see him get his ass kicked. And then when he wrestles, he's fucking entertaining. Like I don't want to see him get released. It's not that type of thing. It's just kind of like, oh, somebody kick him in the goddamn face, like We're not going to answer the next question because I think that it's good for a future podcast down the line. It's like who in WWE should turn face and heel. There's too many kind of elements to do with that. However, I will use that to transition us because we're going to add Drew White into the mix here. So by the time you hear us again, Drew will be back. So we are joined by Drew White. What's up, Drew?
Hey, it's D-Wizzle, and he's up in the hizzle, giving you the drizzle, for shizzle my nizzle.
Now everybody's going, God damn it, why did you come in? We're going to pick up where we left off here. We're not going to go back and do stuff because we have a lot of other podcast material to go through. But if Drew feels necessary, then maybe he'll leave a comment on the website with some answers to the other questions or something like that. I don't know.
Or my plug will just be going back and doing all the questions.
Let's see. We left off at Peter's question of, did All In set out what it was supposed to do? Because the point was to sell 10,000 seats, and they did.
Yeah, they did in less than a half an hour. So yeah.
They accomplished their goal, and then some.
And we're going to be covering it.
Now, would you say that's their goal? If they had a bigger goal, which is to establish that you're able to do this on a regular basis, because they seem to want to do this again at some point.
I'm sure they will establish that they can do it on a regular basis.
I think it depends on how well this show goes.
Goal? But do you think that's the ultimate goal, or if this is the ultimate goal? Because if this isn't the ultimate goal, then I would say no. It does not accomplish.
I think if they quit and they don't do it All In 2, they've already won. They just needed to do one time.
Honestly, this goes into like a whole different question and a whole different topic in general. But who knows? This could be establishing Cody Rhodes and promoting himself and making his own wrestling company at some point in the United States, and he could show that he's able to do that just by his name alone.
Yeah, it could. He could be taking up after his dad.
I think that's part of what this show is. This is Cody's Starrcade.
Yeah, kind of. So, depends on if the show goes really well. Then we might see All In 2. We might see All In 2 sell out a bigger arena. Or if it goes really badly, then I don't think we'll see another one. But we'll figure it out in, what is it, September?
Yep.
September 1st?
I know the tickets sold out, but if they are the right price, I will 100% buy tickets and go to that still on resale.
I know I'll be watching it. I'm not flying out to Chicago for it.
It's only like a 2.5 hour drive for me. But the issue isn't getting there. The issue is once you get there, you have to like park. And Chicago's traffic is the absolute fucking worst. It's bad. I would not recommend.
You would need
going
a ticket
Chicago.
too.
What do you mean?
Well, if it's sold out, you don't have a ticket, then you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I have to wait for the tickets to be the right price, baby. I don't know what that price is yet, though.
$5.
But Ted DiBiase says something like, prices and shit, so.
Jesus Christ.
When are we getting a Snack Talk podcast? Well, isn't that every mailbag?
I hope really soon, no, because Tony and I always break down into some discussion about steak or bacon.
There is a question about that later on.
Has Snack Talk happened for this podcast yet?
Not yet. Frankie has two questions about food, so we'll get to that. I do want to do a Snack Talk podcast at some point. I legitimately do want to do it. I would need to figure out, number one, the graphics for it. Number two, where I would want to host it. I don't know if I would want to necessarily do Snack Talk on the Smark Out Moment channel. Maybe the All Talk Show channel. I don't know. I need the time to do it more than anything, and I've been
You could
swamped.
change it to the All Talk Network.
Maybe.
I'm up for an entire show of just like going through the WWE rosters names and then just changing it to food puns.
All right, we have to at least think of one of them right now. Now that you brought that up,
Drew mac and cheese.
there you go. All right, yeah, there you go. You're in store for that at some point. Final question from Peter. Since you record the podcast in the same room, why don't you do punishments when you get more pay-per-view matches, predictions, wrong with the predictions like that? You jump out of a plane or be buried alive or something like that.
Hold
All
on,
right.
hold on. I'm mad at you, Tony, because you left this in knowing that we don't record
Yeah,
in the
here's
same room.
the first answer is we don't record it in the same room, not even the same state.
Or the same
Or the
country,
same
in,
country.
in Callum's case.
Right,
Time
yeah.
out. What are you guys talking about? I'm sitting right across from you. We're
Yeah.
using the Blue Yeti.
Drew's
the
in
Yeti Station 5.
Indiana.
No, I'm in New Jersey, Deptford, New Jersey, wherever Tony's from. Right
I'm in
next to
New
Tony.
Jersey. Robert's in Florida.
He's full shit. He's right next to me.
Callum's in what part of are you in? Actually, I don't know that.
Essex, Southeast England.
Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
I knew England, but I didn't know which part. I was just thinking like right then. I was like, I don't know.
Essex, yeah, Essex, yeah.
Essex. Wago's in Michigan. Payton's in New York. Like we're all over the place. So
If we're gonna be honest, they're all in Ukraine, Tony.
nah, my market is number 1 United States, number 2 India, number 3 UK, and then I think number 4 is Malaysia. So maybe you all are in Malaysia.
Malaysia.
And a lot of Malaysian people clicking on the website. That's kind of surprising.
What are you saying about
maybe-
Malaysia?
Probably say that the next event wasn't in Malaysia instead of Australia. Then
Maybe it is. It's just a twist. I swerved you guys.
what kind of weird cultures in Malaysia that we could shit on it for?
I don't even have a clue.
Do they kill kangaroos and something in Australia?
So that's why we don't do the punishments, and also, not my thing. Other people
What
do punishments better
what
and stuff.
do? Oh, we're gonna give you a Ric Flair chop. Woo!
Let's see here. Frankie's questions. When is Velveteen Dream coming up? I hope whenever he
Never.
comes up that they have a plan for him. So I'm totally fine being patient
In your dreams, ha!
in my
Ah.
Velveteen Dreams.
No,
Velveteen Dream is so good that I'm afraid for when he gets called up because he's very character driven, and if you take Tyler Breeze as your main example, that doesn't go too well on the main roster.
Yeah, I'm not naive enough anymore to want anybody from NXT to come up at this point. NXT's too good at the moment. WWE is too
Shit.
look what they've done with Almas at the moment and stuff like that. I'm not saying WWE shit, but they're not treating the NXT call-ups well. They're just bringing them up for the sake of numbers.
Yeah, look at No Way Jose, man. He's getting that Adam Rose treatment, hardcore, like the literal same treatment.
Yeah, he's not doing all that well. And
Well,
AOP
he's at
hasn't
least a
even popped
rosebud.
up.
And not a lemon.
You mentioned in my dreams, real quick aside, because I actually remembered one of my dreams from last night, and since they're all dumb as shit, my latest dream that I remembered was the Blockbuster in my town, which has not been a Blockbuster for years, got changed again, and it became another movie place. It was called Panda Movia. Their logo was a panda, and I went there to look for movies, despite the fact that I haven't bought a Blu-ray in God knows how many years, and they mostly sold video games. And I remember going through the racks looking for something for Super Nintendo. In the dream, I never referred to it, so I have no idea what the fuck I was looking for. And I left with nothing. So that is the type of dreams that I have when I remember them.
That's
Fucking
dumb
pointless,
dream.
stupid dreams. Panda Movia. Go ahead, trademark it. There you go. You have a panda that is chomping on a VHS tape. That was the logo.
That sounds like a shitty episode I would expect in the Big Bang Theory to happen midway through season 18, Tony.
Then they have some really terrible back and forth conversation about it. That show, I've lost track of that now.
They're gonna relate it to pandas and how they're going extinct and how, like, I don't know, Sheldon's afraid of them.
Yeah.
He probably is.
Bazinga.
Do you think WWE can make their own Bullet Club-esque faction with the Undisputed Era by having new leaders when they're called up and such? Not a bad idea.
They'll fuck it up. They'll fuck it up.
They probably
They'll fuck
would.
everything
But
up.
they're better off with that than any other kind of incarnation yet.
They can do whatever they want. I don't really care.
I think they
I
could
just-
probably get a new leader of Balor Club.
Well, Balor Club's for everybody, so
Yeah,
it could just
yeah.
be everybody else.
It's everybody club. Yeah, I just want the Undisputed Era to get called up. I'm sure they'll go to SmackDown and have some kind of interaction.
No, Rob, we don't want anybody to be called up. NXT's too good right now.
Well, I agree. I like Undisputed Era the most out of everybody on NXT, but I can see them doing something on SmackDown with Brian because it's like, we're indie guys. You're an indie guy. Be our leader, Brian.
No, you know what would happen? They would come up to Monday Night Raw and Roman Reigns would beat them in a
Stop it.
4-on-1 handicap match.
Stop it. I will boycott Monday Night Raw if that happens.
It'll be him and Rollins, and then Ambrose will come in, and then they'll do 3-on-4, and
Well, all right, but that I wouldn't mind seeing. Undisputed Era versus the Shield, I wouldn't mind seeing. But feeding the Undisputed Era to just Roman Reigns is a terrible fate.
2019.
Hey, on a side note though, if I may inquire on something, for how many years now has NXT just been like too good? Because it feels like it's been like that for a couple years now.
At least like 3.
At least 3.
Yeah, I'd say at least 20. I'd say about 2014 or 2015 at a push. It's been like not top level, but consistently good.
Yeah, consistent is probably the best word for it. Not everything is great, but most things are.
It's so refreshing.
It's weird because like when Monday Night Raw comes around and I'm sitting there going, I got to do 3 hours of Raw coverage and then I got to do the hot tags and I got to do whatever. And it's Tuesday night and I'm like, I got to do 2 hours of SmackDown. I got to do 205 Live and whatever. And then Wednesdays I'm like, oh yeah, NXT. I already know what. Like I already know what's going to fucking happen and I'm more excited to watch it. You know.
Listen, you should just go with the Drew White approach to watching wrestling. Okay. It's like 7. It's 7 o'clock on Monday. Okay, you go. Oh look, Raw should be starting in the next hour. I'm gonna watch all of it this time. I promise I'm gonna watch it all this time. And I tell myself this, and then it gets to like 9 o'clock, and you're like, oh shit, I forgot Raw's on. And then you turn it on. Then you're like, well, I'm kind of hungry, so I'm gonna go get some food. And then it gets to like 9:45, and then you're like, fuck, it's more than halfway over. Well, hopefully the last hour of Raw is really good because that's the hour that should matter the most. Maybe. Who knows with Kevin Dunn? And then you watch the last hour, and the only things that you can pick out the whole time is the most obscure and pointless shit that doesn't matter in the end.
Yep.
So
it sounds about right.
Yeah, so you should totally just do it my way because that's the best way to do it.
Or you can do it my way and be hyped for Raw. And get about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours all the way through. Be hyped for the hot tags. You end up falling asleep on Raw because you're bored, and then you wake up like, "Fuck, I missed the end of Raw and I missed the podcast."
Didn't that happen just a few weeks ago as well, dude?
It happened this week.
No, that happened a few weeks ago as well, right?
It happened during Backlash too. I fell asleep on Backlash.
Dude, I've done that so many times with podcasts. It's not even funny.
The only reason it hasn't happened for me is because just I have this weird fucking impossibility to sleep.
What if I go back to the episode where I fell asleep in the middle of the episode and I missed out on getting Kevin Owens in a fantasy league?
That was great. Oh, let's see here. Thoughts on the Big Brother 20 cast. All right, I'm the only one that watches Big Brother here, I'm pretty sure.
But I did look through the cast.
Yeah, and I have not been able to check out any of the interviews because it's behind the paywall of CBS All Access, and I am not paying for that. So instead, here's my quick breakdown. Rachel is the hottest. Then either Haley or Angela. Not too sure yet, but hey, they're good looking, so thumbs up. I can already tell I'm not going to like JC and Angie. Not at all. They just seem fucking annoying. They're going to be the whole, like, I'm peppy and I'm quirky and aren't you finding me interesting? And I'll be like, no, I don't.
JC looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah. He looks like he's maybe like 4 foot tall and he's got his hat fucking backwards and I don't fucking like him at all.
His name's JC?
Yep, just J and C.
Where's he from?
No idea.
He's you want to know where he's from? He's from fucking Jersey. He's where you're from, probably.
He's
Tony.
from Miami, Florida.
Or he's from wherever he's from. Even
what do you
better.
mean? What do you mean? Aren't we all in the same room? Aren't we the cast of Big Brother?
Hey! I didn't say we're from the same place. I was just saying we were in the same room at the same time by coincidence.
Here's something I noticed about this that's really annoying. There's Haley and Kaylee and Bailey on this fucking cast.
Dude.
Just goes to show you when people name their fucking kids the same things. I'm surprised there's not Caden, Jaden, and Hayden.
Well, hold on a second. There's Chris, Swaggy C. Williams.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna like that guy.
Yeah.
If you call yourself Swaggy C, nah. So I have no idea who I'm gonna root for because I don't know any of their personalities. But if I'm just looking at like pure like just the pictures, the ones that look the most normal to me are Winston and
Haley
Angela.
looks normal.
Who does?
Haley.
Haley, like she might be normal, yeah, and she's cute. So like, you know,
She's
unless
very
she's one of those annoying people, I don't know. The new season starts next week, so I'll chime in a little bit more when it comes to that. Probably post something on social media and just be like, "Oh my god, I fucking hate JC" or something like that. Rachel's hot though, so yeah, thumbs up for her. Thoughts on Ziggler winning the IC title? I hope Callum is in on this because I would love to hear his rant. Callum, I'm gonna go with you first. What do you think about Ziggler?
Okay. Let's warm up a little bit. I'm going to shock you guys. I'm okay with this.
Huh.
I ran a couple of qualifiers. I wish it was McIntyre and not Ziggler.
Agreed.
That's the first one. The second one is that it seems a little bit backwards that WWE take the person who's having the best title reign at the moment and decide to get rid of that when you've got Brock Lesnar holding the Universal title ransom. AJ Styles has been WWE champion for way too long. And both your women's champions are chicken shit heels that can't actually fight anyone.
And nobody cares about the tag teams, and one of the tag teams is a joke.
Yeah, exactly. So it seems a bit odd that that's the title reign that you decide to end. But it was a nice surprise. It has a lot of potential. I don't know what exactly is going to be happening going forward. And that's the thing that you should be feeling after episode of Raw. Like, oh my god, that was a really good match. It was a fantastic match, I thought. Ziggler did well. It's interesting that he's Intercontinental Champion. I'm either seeing maybe the title just switching hands immediately or a feud with Drew down the line.
Hey, I would love the feud. So
yeah, but it's it's just an inoffensive surprise. It's the good kind of surprise. It's one that you don't see coming, but doesn't make you feel like hatred inside.
okay.
Are we all in agreement that it should have been McIntyre though?
Yes.
No.
All right.
Of course, you're not going to do it.
Now, are you
dog
saying
fan.
it shouldn't for the reason that you want McIntyre to turn on
Yeah.
Ziggler? All right, I thought so.
No.
Oh, never mind then.
McIntyre is a Universal Champion, and
That's
they
the
walk
one
around with all
qualifier.
the titles.
Yeah, that's to be the one qualifier. If McIntyre's Universal Champion, then I'm fine with Dolph Ziggler being the Intercontinental Champion.
I'll throw it out there for this. I want McIntyre to turn on Ziggler. Ziggler to be the babyface out of the two. I don't think Ziggler's going to be in the company that much longer. And then after Drew has that Intercontinental title reign, then he moves up to the world title picture. I think that establishes him.
Happening with them having both the singles titles and being an established team and doing like I think I mentioned this beforehand, doing like a triple header gimmick with them where let's say you put the tag titles on Reigns and Rollins and you do all three titles on the line in the triple header match, Ziggler and McIntyre versus Reigns and Rollins.
I think there's definitely a lot of potential. Either way. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Drew.
I'm sorry. You can finish. I apologize because mine is a rant.
Okay, before the Drew rant, which we're all looking forward to, it's more along the lines of it has potential with the sense of if they really want to go in, like all in on Drew and Dolph, then there's a lot of potential there. But it's whether they're actually willing to go as far as that, or whether this is just going to be a transitional reign.
I really hope, and this is why in the group chat I didn't get obnoxiously like, yes, Ziggler finally fucking, because it hit me that Ziggler gets a pity mid-card title reign every year. And I really hope that this is them trying to actually utilize Ziggler and not like, okay, Ziggler, here's your 2-week IC title reign. I don't want that.
Okay. So now the issue with the way I watch Raw is because I never start watching Raw until it's more than halfway over, is I miss stuff like this every single time. So I unfortunately have not got a chance to watch this match yet. However, I do have a couple questions, if I may ask. First off, okay. Yes. But anyways, did Seth Rollins was his knee hurting at all during this match?
He had hurt his knee the night before a little bit,
Yeah, I
and
know.
Ziggler kind of rolled him up.
Was he working his knee?
Not
I don't remember
necessarily,
for
I don't
sure.
think.
Was there anything that showed that Seth Rollins' knee was hurt? Did he act like his knee was hurt?
He missed a curb stomp and he sold it a little bit, but it wasn't like, oh, my knee is killing me, I can't go on.
Okay, can I just complain about the fucking selling of his knee, which is like the only thing that he sells in every match, which is really fucking annoying.
Well, didn't he go down with a bad leg? That's why he sells it.
I get that. However, he does it in like every big match. When was the last time Seth Rollins fought in like a pay-per-view match where his knee didn't like buckle or something and it starts hurting? How the fuck does that happen every fucking pay-per-view match, my bro?
Because that's legitimately his weakest body part. So play off of that because the people know that you have a legitimate bad leg. So play into that as you wrestle so it appears more realistic.
I get that, but it gets less compelling every time it happens because, I don't know, I would like to see something else being worked on his body besides his knee. It gets boring.
Well, but then again, then you take the realism again. If you work his knee, you're taking out the curb stomp, you're taking out the super kicks, the ripcord knee, the strength to do the buckle bomb. Pretty much all of his offense is dependent on his leg strength. So...
Yeah, but he's shown time and time again, even though people take it, which this is very, very getting way too fucking deep into this. But he has shown time and time again that despite the fact that people attack his knee and he hurts his knee in every pay-per-view match, he usually wins them.
I think the bigger issue here is how many weeks do people have to tell him to burn it down and he still doesn't even come out with a match?
I think he needs a blowtorch in his entrance.
No.
There's another match joke somewhere in here, but I can't figure it out.
I'm also disappointed that Ziggler has the title because I'd rather it be Drew because I want me because I would love to have the title, but McIntyre needs like all the titles because he's incredible.
McIntyre needs the Universal title, and that's why I'm perfectly okay with this because McIntyre is money in the main event scene.
Braun Strowman needs the Universal title, so that's why McIntyre can't win it yet.
I don't know how you would book McIntyre winning that title anytime soon.
Easy. Braun beats Brock, Roman beats Braun, McIntyre beats Roman.
You think they would? You think that McIntyre is going to beat Roman?
Yes. I just
help?
laid out the idea of a triple header with McIntyre and Ziggler against Reigns and Rollins.
Ooh, a triple header.
Yes.
Cool.
Another question here from Frankie. Would you be cool if Ellsworth and Asuka had an intergender match?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that last night. That'd be really fun.
I'm over Ellsworth. I don't want to see him anymore.
I'm over Asuka at this point because
Yeah,
they've
me
done
too.
such a terrible job with her.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I'm done with the wink. The wink is the most annoying thing ever now. The first time it was okay because it was super exaggerated and it was like he was like doing the wink at the end of a fucking 1920s cartoon. Like, that's all, folks. Wink. But the second time on SmackDown, that was over the top and I'm annoyed with it already. If his gimmick is a fucking wink and he comes out next week with a t-shirt with him fucking winking on it, I'm going to get really annoyed with him because I liked him before he left. Now, he's ruining Carmella. Because Carmella was money. We were, and also, can we talk about how it's weird, especially in this day and age, that Carmella does the fucking moonwalk when anyone who's like alleged to do anything is like, you know, castrated and exonerated from society. Even though, MJ, I love you, but come on, you almost touched a kid, or you were close to touching a kid at some point. Get your mind out of the gutters, my dude. And she does the moonwalk.
As soon as he died, everybody was just like, "Oh, he was the same."
He's so great.
Nah, with this XXX guy though, you never know, dude.
Yeah, what's this? Never mind. We're gonna go into a whole long thing with that if we start going down there, because then I'll just be like, you know, we need to kill these Rainbow Bright kind of mentality that people have.
But yeah, no one cares about Asuka. That's what I'm getting here.
Nobody.
That's what I was gonna do, but Drew took me out of my game. So
I'm so
like,
sorry. I'm so sorry. My rant about James Ellsworth took your Asuka thing out of. I like Asuka though. I would.
but
They've
I'm
just
over
been
it.
fucking
Like,
her over.
all she had to do was kick Carmella in the head and 1, 2, 3.
God, she's lost like 2 matches. It's okay.
3
No,
now.
it's not.
Oh my
3.
god, 3 matches.
And one of them was to Carmella.
Who cares?
And
She's the WWE's women's champion. Who cares?
And the other ones was like to the Iconics, right?
She's
Those
a
tag
2-time
matches.
She's a 2-time Money in the Bank winner. It's not that big of a deal. And I thought that the Iconics are building them to be like kind of big deals. So I don't.
They're building them to be something, but
There's something. Who knows what? But
Impressionists.
I'm just, just saying that it's okay for Asuka to lose now. It's fine. It's not like she's Goldberg, where oh my god, if Goldberg lost like 2 matches, he's fucking ruined because he's like this big physique. Asuka, other than the fact that she has a little bit more body fat than most of the other women on the roster, other than Nia Jax, obviously, she just looks like a normal fucking person. So it's kind of incredible in on itself that she went on a winning streak because she's not, a huge person.
sir, are you body shaming?
Oh,
That's the next segment.
That's the next.
Yeah,
Thank you, Tony.
I don't even know what the next question is. What's the next question?
No, the
No,
next
the
segment,
next
the
segment.
Sexy
Oh.
Superstars tournament thing when we get to recording that.
Oh yeah.
Next question
Yeah, I want
is
to get around
food
to it,
one.
so I'm not going to go on the rant here. But I would have wanted.
Next food thing is a food one, so we can body shame with that. Do you like bacon mashed potatoes? If
Oh,
anybody
yeah,
says
dude.
no, then you're fucking wrong.
I don't know if there's asparagus with it. Maybe
What, on your potatoes?
I like asparagus, man. Asparagus is
Well,
fucking good.
Asparagus, like in general, is good, but not on potatoes.
3 chicken 10. With
If CM Punk never left, what do you think he would have done in the span, and where would he be at now? I think he would have won at least one more world title, and he'd be a mainstay in the main event on SmackDown like Randy Orton.
He'd be on.
I think he would have been out of the company by now, regardless.
It would have just like been too banged up.
Yeah, I think that he honestly, him leaving was probably the best thing for his body because if he was truly as injured as he says he is, even though I am more on WWE side when it comes to that whole thing, anyways, but that's the loyalist in me. But him leaving was the best thing that happened to him because he's done 2 actual fights in UFC over the past like 2 years, and if he came back now and not in WWE, but if he wrestled now, it's like Shawn Michaels treatment. He probably got more. He would have more out of like his like wrestling career because he took like years off, anyways. So yeah, I think if he stayed, he would have like probably had to retire by like 2017, probably now. So or he would have left because he was pissed off because of something.
It's pretty much what I think. Like, I know where CM Punk would be right now if he hadn't left, and that's fucking miserable.
When do you think the bar will break up? Later on in this year.
I'm
Never.
surprised they haven't already.
Never, because they are the bar.
They don't just set the bar.
I'm glad
That
somebody
bar might
liked
bend,
the
but it will
joke that
never
I
break.
made last night, or Monday night, or whatever, when they showed the Bear family. And I
They
was just like, the Bear family, they are the Bear. Like,
they don't set the bar. They
don't.
take the bar exam and try to get their law degrees with David Otunga.
there's somebody who needs to leave.
Yeah.
Favorite type of steak? Medium well. More on the medium side than the well side.
Rare. I hate dry steak. Steak needs to be a little red. I love rare. If it's rare completely, I'm fine with that as well. As long as it's warm, I'll eat it. I love it bloody. If it's mooing, it's good. So, but I'm from Indiana, so you kind of try a lot of steaks here, and if you eat it tough, a lot of people will consider that pansy work around here.
Medium rare, preferably on the bleeding side. I mean, yeah, if you need your steak well done, I can't
Fuck well done,
associate
man.
with you.
Yeah, I can't fuck with you, man. If you eat it well done.
I hear our
Fuck with it,
president
it's not
eats
that
it
deep.
well done, which is
Not
Well,
surprising.
he eats it with ketchup as well. So
yeah. He's
Do you
not
trust someone
human.
like that? People from Indiana eat fucking steaks with ketchup. That's the fucking people I'm associated with. You have to deal with on a regular basis. Not shitting on all people from Indiana. I'm just saying that some of you motherfuckers eat ketchup with your steak, and that's fucking disgusting. You don't need even A1 with your steak. You know, a good steak you could eat without anything, and it's incredible.
Damn
Throw a
right.
little butter on it.
Callum?
I just go mid-rare. That's all you
Um,
need to say with this sort of question. So
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was like, what's your favorite cut of meat?
I don't know. Just
Cut of
shove a bunch
meat,
of cow
ooh.
in my face and I'll eat it.
You just chop up a cow into any slice and I'll just eat it. Whichever
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that's a fair point. Sorry, vegans.
I love meat.
If you are in a bad mood, do you prefer someone to cheer you up or leave you alone? Well, here's a little insight. I've been in a real bad mood recently. I've just been stressed out. I've been fucking burned out, and tons of little stupid things have been happening that have been bothering the shit out of me. Like little dumb things that shouldn't. Like the hot tags that I put up this week. I did the video the same I fucking always do, and it needed to do it a second time because the program got messed up. Yesterday, I'm microwaving a stupid microwave dinner because I don't have time because I'm overworked. And I microwave it the same way I always fucking do, and it comes out fucked up. And I'm like, this is the type of past couple of weeks that I've been having, so that's why you've been noticing me on the podcast being like, oh, I'm not in a fucking mood, like that kind of thing and stuff like that. To address the question, in those situations, placating my emotions is a better option than leaving me alone. But at the same time, if all you're going to do is go like, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about it? Then I'll be like, I want to fix the problem. That's my go-to all the time. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but if I'm upset about something, it's usually because there's a problem, and I'll be upset about it until the problem goes away.
Yeah, I'm that, and also I'm the type of person where I always bask in my own misery. I hate telling.
Oh, I
people,
wallow all the time.
I hate telling people about whenever I'm upset. I hate trying to like put my whatever negativity is going on in my life. I hate trying to put that burden on other people. I always have felt like that I'm bothering people in that way.
Yep.
I don't know if that's something that'll ever change. That's just kind of how I've always felt about those kind of things. However, I know I'm always the type of person where as soon as I get a chance to talk to someone, I usually do way better than in the entire time when I'm just in my own self-pity. So that's how I usually deal with my fucking misery.
To address the question specifically, it depends on the situation and if the person that I would rather have helping me is the one that upset me.
True.
In that case, then yeah, just leave me alone. I've been in a bad mood pretty much since February, but yeah, it really depends on who I'm talking to and how bad I'm feeling at that moment. I might just want to be left alone and do nothing. I might want to talk about it. Both times, I'll usually just want to be left alone.
I tend to be the cause of my own misery, but I usually don't really.
Same.
I'm like Drew. I don't like to inflict that on anybody else. So
Yeah.
I tend to just almost always just leave me alone for a little bit. I'll deal with it on my own way, like whether it's fixing the problem or just letting it cool off for a little while if I'm just thinking about something which is more existential or something along those lines. But
It's
yeah,
also a guy thing, too. Guys tend not to want to talk about their problems as much.
yeah,
And this is generalization, of course, but like women tend to go more, can I talk to you and you can tell me that my feelings are valid and that you agree with me that this situation sucks and then that'll make me feel better. And then when you talk to the women that feel that way, or the men that feel that way, because some do, and then you go, oh, I'm so stressed out, like, oh, I don't have enough money. And then people are like, oh, it's a shame and I really feel bad and whatever. Then you're like,
That doesn't help.
that doesn't make me feel any better. I still need money, like, or like, oh my God, I feel so sick to my stomach. Oh, that's a shame. Do you want to talk about it? No, I want to stop throwing up. Like, it's the kind of thing, like, it helps to have somebody to talk to when you're upset more than not, unless you're the type of person that you just want to stew a little bit and then you get past it right away. But if you got a problem and the problem's bugging you, fix the problem and then it won't bug you anymore. That's the simplest way to deal with it. You talk to a drug addict and they're like, oh, I got to stop doing drugs. It's really putting a strain on my family. And then you're like, well, between the options of going to counseling and talking about it, or not doing drugs anymore, the counseling will help more than nothing. But if you stop doing the drugs, maybe that'll stop the problem from, like that kind of thing. So, very functional when it comes to that. Anyway, happier story thing here. If a genie granted you 3 wishes in WWE right now, what would you do? So it's WWE specific, because we're taking it in that route. I would say turn Roman Reigns heel, take the title off of Brock Lesnar by having Braun Strowman beat him clean and really be put over. None of this bullshit that we might get of like Braun cashes in on Brock after he just beat Roman Reigns, or Braun pins Roman Reigns in a triple threat instead of Brock Lesnar, so that keeps Brock looking fine. And third wish, Triple H gets veto power over Vince.
I like it. First wish would be drop that 3rd hour of Raw.
Oh, that's a good one.
Second would be take the title off of Lesnar, preferably put it on Rollins if I have my choice. And the third wish, shorter matches all around. Because I think what's happening right now is the matches have just become so long that they're almost a crutch. Well, yeah, Raw's 3 hours, but Balor and Rollins is going to be about 45 minutes of it, so it's okay. I just don't think that that's right.
Okay, so my 3 things are get the title off of Lesnar as well, because that's stupid. I would go back in time to Sunday and change it so that that Kofi Kingston and the New Day wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, because who does not want to fucking see the Freebird New Day as, the WWE champions? That sounds incredible. Could you not just imagine them trying to cash it in? It's just all the insane fucking ways they could have done that with. That would have been, that's so much better than Braun Strowman, who could literally win that fucking title off of Lesnar whenever he wants. Not whenever he wants to, whenever Lesnar decides to show up, because that's the thing. So that annoys me so much. But anyways, the third one would, I don't know, maybe go back in time even further and, slap Chris Benoit in the face and be like, hey, go see a doctor.
Oh, you missed that question. That was earlier.
Oh, there's a Chris Benoit question earlier?
Yes.
Yep.
Got
Can I
one
answer
month.
that since
I've already had to. There's quite a rant on that one. So
he killed someone. Let's move on. He killed 2 people. Let's move on.
3 people if you include himself.
He killed 3 people, including himself. Let's move on.
Callum, what would you do with 3 wishes?
It's pretty much echoing a lot of what's already said. Get the title off Lesnar, number 1. Get the title off Lesnar and release him entirely from the company so he can't do it again.
Ah, damn, yeah. Give me the wish. Yeah, we'll make that one wish.
Yeah. Second one, get rid of the 3rd hour of Raw to make Raw 2 hours long. And thirdly, get NXT on broadcast television.
That's a good one.
I was considering my third wish to be get rid of SmackDown completely and move NXT into that SmackDown slot and treat it like NXT and not like SmackDown.
And I'll throw one more out there. Put Paul Heyman on the creative team.
Hey, why not?
I'll throw out another one. I'm just kidding.
What are some names you'd like to see for the second Mae Young Classic? Frankie brings up Sienna, Madison Eagles, Mandy Leon, Chelsea Green, Taylor Hendricks, etc. I don't really know too many people. I'd like to see some people returning from the last time, like Mercedes Martinez and Jazzy Gabert. I like the idea of Chelsea Green. I'm pretty sure Deonna Purrazzo is a guarantee at this point. I don't know anything about Amber Nova, but she's good looking, so throw her in there. Why not?
I have no idea. I usually don't watch these until the semifinals, so I'll have no idea about anything until then.
So if that Isla Dawn girl from Scotland, I'll throw her in there because she's pretty good in the ring and she's really good looking. So I would like to see more of her. Nicole Savoy. I would like to see her win it this year.
You're gonna be disappointed.
Listen, I'm used to it by now. Why not Awesome Kong? She deserves it, I think.
But
Even if
does
she's
she go in
eliminated
as Awesome
away.
Kong, or does she go in as Karma, or does she go in as Welfare Queen?
She goes in as Awesome Karma, the Welfare Queen. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's about it for me. Callum?
You say names like Io Shirai definitely should be in it. I'd like to see Piper Niven come back. Kaylee Ray, I think she didn't get a fair shake she was eliminated in the first round, but I think she's got a lot more potential if you want to push her a little bit further in the tournament. I'm trying to think if anybody else stands out.
That's Sarah.
Who?
The Sarah Del Rey, the girl who's training.
Oh yeah,
Center.
that could be quite an interesting one.
Hmm.
Maybe an ODB.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I would like to see ODB in a WWE setting.
I don't think she's tied down to anybody. Bring Victoria back.
Victoria, yeah. Fuck yeah.
For the one callback, is Jazz still wrestling?
I believe so.
Yeah, why not? I think Jazz deserves it.
You got any in mind, Drew?
AJ Lee.
That'd be quite good.
If they could.
I gave up hope with her when she didn't show up at the Rumble.
Hey,
I would lose my mind if she came back.
I'm just saying it's a smaller setting, so it'd be a lot easier to deal with.
Have you tried blood sausage and do you like it? Never
Not a
tried
big
it.
fan.
Doubt I will.
Not a big fan. It's not the worst thing. It's just not my favorite.
I don't think I want to eat anything that has blood in it.
Yeah, I don't think I've tried it.
Bye-bye steak for you, Tony.
Well,
But it
not
does
rare
have
steaks.
blood in
Remember, I
it.
said medium well.
Oh, well. Damn it, Tony. Shut up.
If anybody would have tried it here, I would have thought it would have been Callum.
It's a weird thing because I have sausages a lot, but I don't. If I have had blood sausage, I've not been told it's a blood sausage, so I can't say that with any certainty.
Can we all agree that kielbasa sucks?
I haven't had it in so many years, I don't remember.
I've never had a good kielbasa.
What is your all-time favorite moment from The Simpsons? For Frankie, it is the Sideshow Bob getting hit in the head with the rakes and stuff like that. I could go on for a fucking 7-hour podcast, but I will mention a couple that came to my mind when I gave myself about maybe 30 seconds to think of it. There's my favorite episode of The Simpsons, most likely, is the one where Homer sees the alien. And there's a great part in it where they're hooking him up to a lie detector and they say, "Do you understand?" And he says, "Yes." And it immediately explodes. That, I think, is one of the fucking best jokes. I love the running gag of things exploding on The Simpsons. There's a run of jokes in the monorail episode where Homer is talking to Marge. And she's like, "Homer, I got something here that's going to help you." And he's like, "Is it Batman?" And she's like, "No, it's a scientist." And he goes, "Well, Batman's a scientist." And she's like, "Well, it's not Batman." This is a great little, thing. And the same part there during there where the monorail goes out of whack and the guy goes, that scientist guy goes, "I shouldn't have stopped for that haircut." It's such a stupid ass thing. Ralph asking Lisa for the answer for number 3, and she says that, "I can't help you, Ralph. That would defeat the purpose of education and standardized testing," or something like that. Then he goes, "My cat's name is Mittens." It's like, kind of a response is that, and then later on with Mrs. Hoover going, "Anybody have an answer to this?" or whatever like that, and Ralph, "This better not be about your cat," and then he just puts his hand down. Oh, hi, Super Nintendo Chalmers.
That is good.
When Frank Grimes is going crazy about the palace that Homer lives in, and you
Yep.
went to the moon and all that, and he's like, oh, you've never been? Do you want to see my Grammy? Hank Scorpio getting asked if he has any sugar, and he pulls it out of his pockets, hands it to Homer, and he goes, oh, sorry, it's not in packets. Lenny's, ow, my eye, I'm not supposed to get pudding in it. Upon closer inspection, these are loafers. Man getting hit by football. There's so many fucking good moments from those first 10 seasons. I could go on and on and on and on.
All right, so man getting hit in the groin is a very good one. My favorite episode period is Granny.
It's so good.
But I think my number one favorite moment is from the episode Hurricane Ned, when they try to fix the house and it all comes apart, and Ned is trying not to freak out, and he finally just loses it. And Marge goes, but Ned, we meant well, and everybody here tried their best. And he goes, my family and I can't live in good intentions, Marge. Oh, your family's crazy, but we can't blame you because you have good intentions.
And he's like, okay, Ned, they tried their best. Diddly diddly diddly, diddly dang dong crap. Can't you idiots get anything right?
That is my favorite Simpsons moment of all time.
Good intentions. Oh, another great one, the Movementarian episode where he keeps calling everybody jerk ass. How do I why you jerk ass? Oh god, The Simpsons is good. Favorite moment, Callum?
I mean, there's so many. Like, it's hard. I'm trying to just think of so many in my head because you guys have said so many already. I don't know if they count as moments, but like every time The Simpsons does a song, I'm pretty much into it. So like the monorail song, Who Needs a Quickie Mart, See My Best. See My Best might be my favorite one.
You know, an underrated one that I think is incredibly catchy is the Streetcar Named Desire. The whole like songs that they do during that and stuff. That's really good. I fucking love Troy McClure's.
Oh yeah, the Monkey Out of Me.
Yeah, from every chimpanzee to chimpanzee, and
Dr. Zayas.
Dr. Zayas is great. And
another one of the funny moments is I don't know, I think it was in the Treehouse Horror where Homer gets sent to hell and he's just fed donuts, and then he just keeps eating. It's just like so funny. Yeah, just like that's just a perfect summation of what Homer is. Like that would be his hell, but also his heaven.
Lionel Hutz trying to argue with the whole like I would have settled for 2 popsicles, like that kind of thing. There's so many good fucking moments.
I really just want to go back and watch like the first 10 seasons now.
Yeah. My mom's favorite joke of The Simpsons ever is from the very first episode. And it's a go-to that always makes her crack up. Where in the very first episode, when Homer and Ned bump into each other and they spill the bags, and Homer only has the one bag, then I think it's Rod is the younger one. Actually, no, it's Todd. I'm pretty sure. He just says, "Mr. Simpson, you dropped your pork chop," and squeaks the little dog toy. That's my mom's favorite joke from anything that's ever been on The Simpsons. So The Simpsons peaked on the very first episode to my mom. Such a good thing. Drew, do you have any favorite Simpsons moments?
I mean, I don't know. The baseball episode is pretty funny. Anything with Duffman's pretty funny. I don't really watch The Simpsons, like, and I don't religiously follow it like you and other people do. So I can't offhand like tell you that this specific thing is very funny, but I think it's a funny show.
Kalen would have been a good if he's not available to record during the afternoons. That's why he hasn't been around and stuff like that. But I'll have to try to bug him to get an answer on this. You brought up the baseball thing. Homer getting hit in the head with the baseball is great. The whole Daryl, then he starts crying. Ken Griffey Jr.'s head being all crazy like that. The sideburns. The fucking what's his name going back to get the washer dryer and everything. Something else had popped in my mind a second ago, but nah, I'm blanking on it. There's just so many.
You know, it's another really good one. I don't know what episode it's from, but Burns is looking at Homer through binoculars, and he goes, "Look at him, Smithers, walking around like he's the cock of the walk. Well, I'll tell you, Homer Simpson is cock of nothing." And it's just funny. I don't know.
I love that show. Oh, I really do want to watch The Simpsons again now. Were you a fan of The Office? If so, who was your favorite character and moment? For me, Michael is the best, and the fire Dwight caused. Oh, I don't know. I only watched a couple episodes of the show, and wasn't the thing for me for some reason.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan, but I've seen some Michael Scott clips, and they're very funny.
That's why it's easily the best character from that show, without a doubt.
I only really watched the British version.
And I had a
So
feeling
that
you were
kind
going to
of
say that.
Well, it's the better version, so.
That's what I've heard. I honestly have really wanted to watch it because of that.
And you, in that case, I'd have to go just like David Brent, like the Ricky Gervais character is like, just funny. He's just funny, and he knows. Well, it's a sense of like he thinks he's funny, and that makes him actually funny because like he thinks that everything he says is so clever or so profound when it actually isn't. But that makes it funny.
Caroline turned me on to the Ricky Gervais show, the cartoon like
Oh, the
podcast.
Yeah.
Fucking so good.
Yeah, I know. Carl Pilkington is like just
He's
the
amazing.
most amazing guy.
He's just like, I don't know, there's too many people, isn't it? And you just go like, the hell's up with you, Carl? I've only watched like 5 episodes of it, but yeah, he's totally Drew.
Yeah, he's totally Drew. How this?
Drew, at some point you have to check out the Ricky Gervais podcast and check it out and see what it is. I've only seen about like 5 or 6 episodes, but I'm gonna steamroll through it when I get a chance.
I don't like stuff that sounds like it's insulting me.
Oh, it totally is.
I'll check it out. Probably.
He's like the secret ingredient of the show that makes it great.
Our final question for the mailbag here: thoughts on Charlotte Flair being in the Body magazine for ESPN?
I'm not shocked. She's the queen. She's going to get a lot more accolades before her career is done, and her body is okay.
Thumbs up. Probably won't look at it because I don't really give a shit about that stuff, but still good for her.
I think it's just good that WWE is getting put is able to put someone forward alongside actual athletes.
I'm disappointed it wasn't Alexa Bliss.
Aren't we all?
And it's a little weird timing when she ruptured her implant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I guess
it's a good thing.
They cover those parts anyway, so I guess.
Yeah. So that's the mailbag for June. Thank you for all the questions, everybody. Per usual, start thinking of some questions for July, and we'll get around to that when we get around to that. That'll
Especially
probably
you,
be...
Howard.
Yeah, Howard. Tossing some good questions out there here and there. So I don't know for sure exactly when the July mailbag is going to be. On my notes, at the very least, I've got it written down as potentially around the 25th. So episode 347, but it might be the week before that. It kind of depends. So you got a little bit of time. Figure it out. Send us questions whenever you want to. I'll backlog them if I need to, and we'll answer them when we answer them. So plug time. We're gonna do this real quick because we still have another podcast left to do. I, of course, Smark Out Moment on Facebook and Twitter, and Fanboys Anonymous elsewhere. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and ring the bell for notifications. Hit up the Patreon. Buy a T-shirt on TeePublic or Redbubble. On whatever those things are, because I have 3 accounts on those, and Tony Mango and whatever like that. Robert?
Dude Felice, Twitter and Instagram. Check out WrestleZone.com during the day. Callum?
Wigmoster14 on Twitter. Don't follow me anywhere else. Drew?
Well, if you need me, actually, if you guys may, I'm gonna go back. So the very first question,
and that's it for for this edition of Smack Talk, and we're being counted out.
See, the first question. See, Money in the Bank participants from the 1980s. Who would I go? I'm just fucking with it. Just Joseph White, McFreaking Duncan. Something will be on there eventually. Who knows? It's too far away from the mic. Guys, out.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you next time. Actually, we'll see you in the Sexy Superstars Tournament talk. That's coming up next. This has been another Smark Out Moment. We're being counted out.